Snark Squad.
Babes, it's Thursday morning.
And babes, the tea.
Hot.
We are feeling delusional.
Chaotic.
And babes, we are here for the vibes.
The wine is on deck.
Because babes, it's gonna be a good fucking evening.
I mean, we really need to talk about this show because every single time we watch Babes,
Oh, I know.
we feel like faux regals. Like, truly.
Literally.
Like, I sit there and I'm like, is this how Queen Victoria queened? Because, babes, we are feeling it.
We are feeling it, but I am also, I'm questioning it while being deeply intrigued. Because it is a profound psychological sickness.
It is.
Like, we literally fought an entire revolutionary war so we wouldn't have to deal with a monarchy, right?
Right.
And yet you hear someone ask for, like, a spot of tea or use the word ghastly, and suddenly you are, what, straightening your posture?
Totally.
You're speaking in cursive and pretending your studio apartment is some, heritage estate in the Cotswolds?
I am fully leaning in. Like, completely leaning in. I find myself aggressively demanding staff.
Which you don't have. I don't have staff. But I'm walking around my apartment acting like I should have a butler named Higgins, like bringing me my iced coffee on a silver tray.
A silver tray for the cold brew.
Yes. I literally caught myself looking out the window at my neighbor's trash cans yesterday, holding a glass of Pinot Noir, and I was just sighing. Like an aristocratic war widow.
That is deeply unhinged.
The delusion is so real. I feel like I need a massive feather coat and someone to just, constantly agree with me.
Well, that faux regal energy, it's incredibly potent. And honestly, it connects perfectly to a very specific subset of the population who actually understands that psychological vulnerability better than anyone else.
Wait, who?
Scammers.
Oh my God, yes.
Right. Because why do scammers always pretend to be royals? Have you noticed this? It is literally never, greetings, I am a regional shift manager from Ohio, please wire me funds. It's always, greetings, I am His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince of some obscure European principality.
Or the deposed king of a diamond-rich nation.
Exactly. And I'm just sitting there like, sir, you are not a prince. You are in someone's basement. In a tracksuit.
But the thing is, it works. People fall for it.
It works because they are hacking our evolutionary deference to hierarchy. Sociologists actually call it the halo effect.
Ooh, the halo effect.
Yeah. If someone presents themselves with the title of nobility, our brains basically just automatically bypass critical thinking.
You just believe them.
Right. We assign them traits of honesty, wealth, importance. We are culturally conditioned to respect the invisible crown, babes.
I am screaming because I literally fell right into that trap, except I reversed it on them. I have to tell you the full story.
Wait, did you engage?
I decided to completely mess with one of these scammers.
I am low-key impressed, but also highly terrified for your digital footprint. How did this initiate?
Okay, so I am sitting on my couch, right, just having a normal Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
and I get a random WhatsApp DM.
Obviously, WhatsApp.
Always. Unregistered international number. And the profile picture, babes, is a man in a literal sash.
A sash.
A sash covered in medals. Like military honors from nowhere. And the message reads, Dearest beloved, I am Prince William's third cousin, twice removed, currently on holiday in Dubai, and my royal assets have been frozen by the sovereign bank.
Oh, that is, the audacity of claiming third cousin twice removed is actually a brilliant touch of faux authenticity.
Right, because you can't just Google that immediately.
Exactly. It's just distant enough to be unverified.
So normally I just, block and delete, get it out of my face.
Yeah.
But I had wine.
Of course you did.
I was feeling chaotic.
Yeah.
And I thought, let's see how deep this rabbit hole goes. I decided to weaponize my own faux regal delusion. So I replied, and I told him I was the Duchess of Calabasas.
The Duchess of Calabasas, a truly sacred title.
I told him my assets were also tragically frozen. Because my diamond-encrusted corgi, Lord Barnaby.
Lord Barnaby?
Yes. Lord Barnaby swallowed the biometric key to my offshore vault in the Cayman Islands.
Stop it.
And he believed it. He fully responded, Oh, dearest Duchess, I pray for the royal beast's digestion.
The fact that he validated the digestive tract of Lord Barnaby just to keep you on the hook. That shows the terrifying commitment of these syndicates. How long did you string this operative along?
3 entire weeks.
Wait! 3 weeks, you ran a counterintelligence operation from your living room for almost a month.
A whole month, basically.
What on earth did you even discuss for 21 days without actually sending him money?
Well, I derailed him with business ventures. I told him, we couldn't focus on the frozen assets right now. We needed to build an empire.
Naturally.
So I had him drafting up fake legal contracts for a mutual investment in a luxury line of miniature top hats for rescue horses.
Miniature top hats for rescue horses.
Yes. I was sending him Pinterest boards. Like, do we like the crushed velvet or the imported silk for the miniature brims, Your Highness?
Oh, my God.
I made him choose color palettes. I asked him for his ring size so we could forge our secret society signet rings.
And he just went along with it.
Every single time he asked for a wire transfer, I would just be like, patience, my prince. The haberdashery mock-ups must be approved first.
Haberdashery. I am analyzing the psychological warfare here, and honestly, it is flawless. Because you use the sunk cost fallacy against him.
Wait, what's that?
It's like he had invested so much time discussing, equine millinery with you that he couldn't walk away from the potential payday. He was in too deep with the velvet top hats.
Exactly. He was trapped. And the chaotic reveal, oh my God.
How did it end?
After 3 weeks, he finally snapped. He completely dropped the Prince Act and aggressively demanded $500 in iTunes gift cards.
The true royal currency.
Right. So I recorded a voice note of me aggressively screaming the lyrics to Money Can't Buy You Class, sent it, and blocked him.
You weaponized Bravo against an international crime syndicate.
I was crying, laughing.
That is the exact level of strategic chaos I respect. You really proved that when you understand the mechanics of delusion, you can out-scam the scammer.
I am a mastermind. But speaking of escaping reality and living our best delusional lives, we have a travel moment.
Oh, we do.
Babes, we are going to Tulum.
We are. The flights are secured. The reality of leaving this specific latitude is finally setting in.
In a few weeks. And babes, we are so excited.
Beyond excited.
But let's be entirely clear to the Snark squad right now. It is an all-inclusive.
It is.
Because, babes, we do not have penthouse money. We are not booking the private cliffside eco-villa with, the infinity pool and the personal shaman.
No, we have unlimited well liquor by the communal pool money, which, frankly, I have analyzed the economics of vacationing, and that is a perfectly respectable tax bracket.
It is. It gets the job done.
We need this on a medical level. I have been tracking my vitamin D levels, and they're practically non-existent. My seasonal affective disorder has morphed into a permanent personality trait.
I am fully spiraling about needing sunshine. Because, babes, we have been in winter too long.
Too long.
My skin looks like I've been living in a Victorian orphanage. I am practically translucent. Like, you can see my veins. I need to be sweating. I need to be holding a drink that comes in a hollowed-out piece of fruit with a tiny umbrella.
Right. So let's scientifically rank the expectations so we're mentally prepared for this all-inclusive experience. Drinks.
Yes. What are we thinking?
I am anticipating sugary, neon-colored concoctions utilizing imitation syrups that will induce an ocular migraine by about 4 p.m.
Oh, absolutely.
But I will consume 6 of them because they are complimentary, and the human brain just cannot resist the concept of free.
Oh, I will be drinking blue liquids exclusively. If it's not bright blue, I don't want it. What about beach vibes?
Beach vibes, I expect to be aggressively sand exfoliated by the coastal wind while silently and analytically judging other people's resort wear choices from behind oversized polarized sunglasses.
Yes.
Yeah.
I live for the judgment. And excursions. Are we leaving the resort?
The psychology of the excursion is very tricky. Because I know I will enthusiastically sign up for a 6 a.m. Mayan ruin tour after my 3rd neon margarita the night before.
You always do.
And then I will deeply, profoundly regret it the next morning when I am forced onto an unair-conditioned luxury motor coach that smells faintly of diesel and damp towels.
See, I am not leaving the property.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I am staying by the pool in my outfits.
The outfits.
Linen. Strictly linen. My entire suitcase is just beige and white linen sets.
Linen is the ultimate faux wealth fabric.
It really is.
Because it projects this relaxed, unbothered affluence, completely ignoring the reality that it wrinkles the millisecond your body makes contact with a chair.
You sit down once and it's over.
You look like a crumpled napkin within 10 minutes. But for those first 10 minutes, you are a giving coastal grandmother.
And I will take those 10 minutes. But wait, the most important part. Food check.
Let's do it.
Tacos.
Babs.
So good. We need to talk about tacos right now because my brain is fixated and I need to manifest the culinary reality of this trip.
The pivot to tacos is abrupt, but considering our impending geographical shift, it is accepted. Go ahead.
I am emotionally obsessed with this one al pastor taco I had the other day. Like the pineapple. Caramelized to perfection.
Crucial.
The pork. Crispy on the edges but juicy in the center. The cilantro. Aggressive, just how I like it. Babes, It hit so hard it altered my DNA.
That sounds structurally sound.
But then, on the flip side, I had a birria taco yesterday that completely failed. It was a tragedy.
Oh, no.
The shell literally dissolved in my hands. I was weeping into the consommé.
Well, let's break this down from a structural engineering perspective, because a taco failing is rarely a failure of flavor.
Right.
It is almost exclusively an issue of tortilla architecture.
What I don't get it, though. Why do some fall apart and some hold up? It's just corn.
It is not just corn. Think about the physics of a wet taco, like a birria that has been slow cooked and, dipped in fat and beef broth.
Yeah.
If a restaurant serves that on a single unreinforced corn tortilla, that is structural negligence. It is setting the consumer up for catastrophic failure. Corn masa has a specific tensile strength.
Okay, Mr. Science.
No, listen, when you introduce excessive liquid fat, you break down the binders. You require a double-layer tortilla system, slightly griddled with the fat from the meat, to create a hydrophobic moisture barrier.
A hydrophobic moisture barrier. That makes so much sense.
Exactly. And if I am ranking meats, al pastor is top tier because the trompo, the vertical spit, allows the fat to render continuously.
The sega.
It bastes the meat while the open flame creates the Maillard reaction on the edges. But the salsa is the actual linchpin.
Yes, the salsa verde.
If your salsa lacks acidity, the entire taco fails the vibe check. The acid is required to cut through the heavy lipids of the pork. Without it, the taco becomes heavy, monolithic, and honestly exhausting to eat.
It's all about the structural integrity and the balance, which honestly brings us perfectly to our show.
A flawless segue.
Because if there is anything that lacks structural integrity, moisture barriers, and balance, it is the lives of these women.
Thematic causality at its finest. Margo's fabricated, perfect American life in London is exactly like a single-layer wet birria taco.
Yeah,
It looks fantastic on Instagram, but the second you apply any actual pressure to it, the entire thing dissolves into a messy, tragic puddle.
Oh my God, yes. We are fully locked in on the show, and I am unwell. First of all, we have to talk about Margo's tragic American holiday, the 4th of July in London.
Let's set the scene for this absolute tragedy.
Please.
Margo is desperately attempting to celebrate Independence Day with her husband Jacques, her stepkids, and her daughter.
Yeah.
And it is the most depressing, low-energy display of patriotism I have ever witnessed on television.
Babes, I was devastated. The tragedy of expat holidays, it looked so incredibly sad.
So bleak.
There are no fireworks. There's no air conditioning, which, by the way, I firmly believe is a human rights violation.
Truly.
They are just sweating in a brick house while literal vines grow into the windows.
Did you see the creeping ivy on the inside of the glass?
I did. It felt very Grey Gardens. It feels so isolating. I was trying to figure out why it made me so sad to watch. And it's because all your friends back home are on pontoon boats, wearing red, white, and blue, drinking ice-cold beers, and you are just sitting in King Charles's England, holding a sad little paper flag on a stick.
What you are reacting to is the sociology of cultural displacement.
Okay, unpack that.
When you live in a foreign country, holidays are the primary anchor to your native identity. But when the host country doesn't acknowledge that holiday, the performance of it becomes completely hollow.
Oh, that's so true.
Someone once made the joke that Thanksgiving in England is just called Thursday.
Ouch.
And that is exactly what this 4th of July felt like. It's just another sweaty Thursday where everyone else went to work. Margo is trying to force a feeling of home, but the environmental context is rejecting it.
That makes perfect sense. She's trying to force the vibe so hard. But we have to aggressively discuss the food atrocity she used to force that vibe.
Oh.
Margo is serving posh dogs.
I need to viciously roast the British supermarket American section right now.
Drag it.
Have you actually studied these aisles? It is a fascinating, horrifying reflection of how the world views American consumption.
It is so offensive. It's all just sugar.
It is entirely comprised of heavily processed, neon-colored items. Sugary cereal, Pop-Tarts, giant boxes of Nerds, marshmallow fluff.
Disgusting.
But the absolute worst part, the true horror, is these gross foot-long hot dogs floating in indeterminate cloudy liquid in a massive glass jar.
The jar.
They look like biological specimens preserved in a Victorian medical museum.
The hot dogs in the jar. Babes, I almost threw up my wine. You cannot serve jar meat to your family and call it a holiday.
You really can.
Margo was literally pouting, serving these pale, soggy wieners, saying, "Let's go see the ducks," in the most bored, miserable voice ever. But why are they in jars? We don't put hot dogs in jars in America.
This is actually a fascinating historical divergence in food preservation.
Okay, tell me.
In post-World War II Britain, rationing lasted until the 1950s. Canning and brining became the default methods for preserving meat without refrigeration.
Yeah.
So when American-style hot dogs were introduced to the UK market, the British food industry applied their existing preservation infrastructure, which was brining them in jars, rather than adopting the American method of vacuum sealing them in plastic for immediate refrigeration.
Ew.
So the American food in the UK is actually an American concept filtered through a post-war British manufacturing lens.
Okay, that is fascinating history, but it is still fundamentally gross.
Completely gross.
I will not eat a brined wiener. I refuse. But Margo did make one point during this sad meal that I loudly, emotionally agree with.
What was that?
The ultimate American flex. Filling a glass to the brim with ice.
The ice flex. It is arguably our greatest cultural export.
Yes, why does Europe hate ice? It makes me furious.
They despise it.
You go to a restaurant, you ask for water, and they give you a lukewarm thimble of liquid with one sad, half-melted cube floating in it.
It's pathetic.
Margo, filling those glasses entirely with ice. That is true patriotism. That is the American dream. I demand ice in my beverages.
The European aversion to ice is actually deeply rooted in 19th century theories of digestion.
Wait, really?
Yes. There is a lingering cultural belief across Europe that consuming freezing cold liquids shocks the digestive system and disrupts the body's internal temperature equilibrium.
It is so dumb.
Conversely, America's obsession with ice dates back to Frederick Tudor,
Ooh.
the ice king of the 1800s, who commodified ice from New England lakes and aggressively marketed it as a luxury necessity. We view ice as a symbol of technological triumph and abundance. Margo demanding ice is her subconsciously asserting American abundance over European restraint.
American abundance over European restraint.
Sure.
Put that on a t-shirt.
I will.
It is the only culturally superior thing we brought to the table in that scene.
Oh.
But wait, I have a question about her husband.
Jacques?
Yes, Jacques. I need to understand him. He's incredibly handsome. We can establish that.
Objectively, yeah.
But what does he actually do for a living?
And
He is mysteriously employed. He just exists in the background of scenes, looking impeccably French and deeply confused by the jarred hot dogs.
he is a classic reality TV phenomenon. The aesthetic spouse.
The aesthetic special.
He provides visual balance to the frame, but contributes zero narrative weight. He is essentially high-end furniture.
He is just a beautiful prop. The miniature wife dynamic is so real here. I love him. But babes, speaking of beautiful props who bring aesthetic value,
Oh, no.
we have to talk about brawn.
I fully anticipated you spiraling over brawn.
I am completely, utterly spiraling. My Kaka's brother flies in from Boston for her birthday. And babes, he is a handlebar hottie.
A handlebar hottie.
I literally gasped at my television. He is one striped singled away from being an old-timey circus strongman who lifts giant metal spheres.
Let us analytically critique the aesthetic choices happening here, because the handlebar mustache is, objectively, a horrific facial hair decision.
No, it's cute.
It is giving 1890s bare-knuckle boxer. It is giving barbershop quartet villain who ties women to train tracks.
But it works for him.
I must concede that the sheer physical mass of the man distracts from the mustache. He is a stacked personal trainer. He is built like a brick structure.
He really is.
But it represents a very specific shift in male beauty standards, you know, that hyper-masculine, ironic, retro aesthetic that took over fitness culture a few years ago.
I don't care about the sociology of the mustache. I just know I am obsessed. He's the middle child, the only brother, and Myka says he's the best trainer in America.
Bold claim.
He runs this boot camp in Richmond, which, by the way, is basically Ireland. It's so far west of London.
It is a trek.
And he brings the girls out to work out. He's yelling, tummy in, tits out. I was dying. Someone called him a very happy puppy with a mustache, and it is the most accurate description ever.
The Richmond workout scene is an absolute masterclass in chaotic character choices and cultural clashes. We have the American fitness dogma slamming headfirst into British aristocratic lethargy.
Yes.
First of all, we must discuss Martha Sitwell.
Screeching. I am screaming about Martha in this scene.
She shows up to a hardcore military-style outdoor boot camp
Yeah.
carrying a basic paper-thin pastel yoga mat.
She looks so confused. She looked like she wandered onto the wrong set.
She looks incredibly unnatural in athletic wear. It is like watching a swan attempt to ride a bicycle.
A swan on a bicycle.
Her entire physical presence rejects the concept of exertion. The British aristocracy historically views visible physical labor as lower class. You ride horses, you hunt, you stroll your gardens. You do not do burpees in the mud.
She is a fragile Victorian doll. But Babes, she survived just long enough to enjoy the part where Braun took his shirt off.
As did we all.
We all enjoyed it. Even Mark-Francis, who would rather paint peonies than look at peonies, would have enjoyed that.
Okay, wow.
And shockingly, the next scene is Martha exercising again, and she has a trainer. She is in her fitness era.
A brief era.
But the most iconic, realist moment of the entire episode, Martha, immediately after the boot camp, desperately needing a cigarette.
The juxtaposition of lunges followed immediately by inhaling a Marlboro Light. It is high art.
It is. It is the purest distillation of the European lifestyle. She literally says, my 20s and 30s were cocaine and champagne.
Braun asks her, do you need a cigarette? And she just exhales and goes, yeah, I really do.
I mean,
I felt that in my absolute soul. If you make me do squat jumps on wet British grass, I am lighting up immediately. The health offset is real.
It's all about balance.
But you know what makes me absolutely furious about this scene? Miss
The missed opportunity, the strategic failure.
A massive missed opportunity. I don't get it. Miss is single. She is gorgeous. She is out there throwing her boobs around willy-nilly in a sports bra.
Looking incredible, to be fair.
Looking flawless, and she completely failed to flirt with Braun. What are you doing? Do you not understand the storyline potential?
She clearly does not.
You could be making out with the American strongman in the bushes, securing your spot for next season. But instead, you are focusing on walkout planks. Wake up, Miss A. From a reality television production standpoint, it was a catastrophic failure on her part. You are presented with a prime, imported, muscular piece of narrative bait right in front of you.
Hand-delivered.
A cross-cultural romance storyline is reality TV gold. And she chooses to focus on her core strength. It shows a complete lack of producer mindset. She is living in the physical reality, not the narrative reality.
It's amateur behavior. I was yelling at the screen. But let's move from missed connections to the real meat of the drama.
The picnic fallout.
The picnic fallout and Mark-Francis being an absolute menace.
The game of telephone in the social group is exhausting, but it perfectly illustrates the mechanics of gossip in closed networks. Let's map it out for the Snark squad.
Please map it out, because I got lost.
Okay. Kimi talks trash about Miss to Margo. Kimi then gets into a massive fight with Margo at Martha's picnic. Consequently, Margo is now furious at Mark-Francis because Mark-Francis and Kimi teamed up on her.
Right.
It is a contagion of drama. It's like watching a virus spread through a host body.
It is exhausting. But Margo is fully in her victim era right now.
Yeah.
She is sitting down with Myka, and she claims she feels bullied and attacked. And babes, I have to emotionally defend Margo here.
Prepare your defense because I am going to dismantle it.
Let me make my case. It's SCKS to be double-teamed. Kimi and Mark were relentless at that picnic. They were rapid-fire insulting her, and everyone else just sat there and stayed neutral.
They did stay quiet.
Did Margo forget that Martha actually tried to defend her? Yes. But in the heat of the moment, when two powerful personalities are coming at you, it feels like the whole world is against you. I would be crying too.
I am going to push back on this hard. Let us analyze Margo's response mechanism here. She is entirely overusing therapy speak to mask her inability to handle basic confrontation.
Is she, though?
Yes. She lacks the verbal dexterity to spar with Mark-Francis, so she elevates his snark to the level of psychological abuse. Can we please, as a society, declare independence from the weaponization of the word gaslighting?
Ooh. Okay, explain the difference then, because she felt gaslit.
Gaslighting is a sustained, calculated pattern of psychological manipulation designed to make the victim doubt their own memory, perception, and sanity. Margo is calling Mark a psychopath, a liar, and claiming he is gaslighting her.
Yeah.
No, Margo, he is not manipulating your perception of reality to make you think you are insane. He just made fun of your feather coat.
But he lied about what he said.
Lying is not gaslighting. Being insulting is not gaslighting. It is mean, yes. It is petty, yes. But put the pop psychology buzzwords down. She is trying to use clinical terminology to win an argument, and it diminishes the actual meaning of the words.
Okay, that is a fair distinction. I will give you that.
Yeah.
But Mark is being incredibly mean, and Margo was right about him being deeply insecure.
Well, obviously.
She said he's desperate for everyone to like him, so he uses his clown persona to keep people at a distance. And we get this whole scene of Mark-Francis at his Italian villa workshop that completely proves her point.
Ah, yes, visiting the mural painters in Italy. The artisans he affectionately refers to as the gay fairies who paint his villa.
Literally what he called them. He's walking around inspecting painted peonies on the ceiling, looking like Mr. Burns, and the man in the yellow hat had a baby.
That is a terrifying visual.
And he drops this massive emotional bomb. He claims he understands bullying perfectly because he was bullied for the first 20 years of his life.
This requires deep psychoanalysis. Did you see his childhood pictures?
Yes.
He looked like a frail, aristocratic child from the 1920s who accidentally time-traveled 60 years into the future into a modern playground. Of course he was bullied.
He looked terrified, like a little ghost boy.
His defense mechanism is glaringly obvious to anyone who understands sociology. Let's introduce Pierre Bourdieu's concept of habitus.
Oh boy, here we go.
The deeply ingrained habits, skills, and dispositions we possess due to our life experiences. Mark-Francis has actively constructed a habitus of hyper-elitism. He has crafted this cruel, untouchable, aristocratic persona because he thinks it makes him invulnerable.
So it's a shield.
Exactly. If he is the one making the cutting remarks about your hemlines or your feather coat, no one can cut him. He projects this unbothered superiority, but it is built on a foundation of profound childhood insecurity. The etiquette is his armor.
Oh my God, the etiquette is his armor? That makes so much sense. But it still makes him a massive hypocrite.
How so?
Margo points it out perfectly. He's so nice to her face, he kisses her cheek, says, "Hello, darling, so lovely." And then the second she turns around, he is ripping her to shreds to Kimi.
He is two-faced, absolutely.
He specifically went after her feather coat, which honestly was a choice. It looked like Big Bird went to a funeral.
It was a horrific garment.
But still, you can't be two-faced and then claim you're just being witty. He is a freak. And as Margo screamed, "I will not be branded a freak, H.E. is a freak."
Which brings us to the most uncomfortable scene of the episode, the failed peace treaty.
This scene.
Missy, for reasons completely unknown to logic or reason, decides she's going to be the UN diplomat and mend fences between Margo and Mark-Francis.
Missy literally says JYZS at one point because the tension in the room is so thick you could cut it with a knife. She goes to him and she tries to appeal to his humanity.
A mistake.
She tries to tug on the heartstrings. She tells Mark-Francis that Margo is literally upstairs crying over his words. And Mark's response, "Babes, ice cold."
He says, and I quote verbatim, "Well, I'm very happy to say absolutely nothing to her or behind her. She is of no consequence to me."
I screamed at my television, "She is of no consequence to me." And then he adds, "Remember, sweetie, she's an actress."
A flawless execution.
Babes, that is chilling. That is horrible. How can you be so cold to someone who is actively crying over the pain you caused? Margo even brought up the fact that his own family disowned him just because someone said she was acting like a victim.
It's dark.
She is deciding to be completely evil in this feud. I don't understand how someone can lack that much empathy.
Let me offer a counter perspective.
Please try.
Secretly.
I love the villain energy.
It's so mean. Because it is fantastic television. "She is of no consequence to me" is arguably the greatest dismissal in reality TV history. It is a line I'm going to start utilizing in my daily life when someone annoys me at the grocery store or cuts me off in traffic.
You would?
However, analytically speaking, as a strategy for moving through a cohesive friend group, it is terrible. You cannot simply dismiss people like lint on your lapel and expect the social ecosystem to survive. He is isolating himself.
It's so mean. But his complete refusal to engage leads us right into the main event. Myka's polo party and the faux piece.
We need to discuss the premise of this event.
Yes, let's set the stage.
Maybe deciding to throw a polo-themed party for her own birthday is a very specific, calculated choice.
A fabulous choice. And Braun is there, wearing cowboy boots on a British polo field, looking like a walking McDonald's cup full of ice.
That is a deeply specific insult.
That is the only way to describe him. He is the most jarringly American thing on that field.
Yeah.
He's a walking 4th of July.
Well, before we get to the interpersonal dynamics, we must analyze the fashion, because the outfits at this party reveal everything about the shifting power dynamics.
Okay, let's talk fashion.
First, Emma returns from Kenya.
Yes. She was in Kenya, bragging about jogging/walking the Tusk 10K marathon. Babes, I need to call this out right now.
Call it out.
If you walked it, just say you walked it. Don't try to claim a jog if your heart rate didn't break 100. Just say you strolled through the savannah.
She definitely strolled. And then Lottie arrives. Lottie, who, as we have established, has that permanently surprised deer-in-headlights expression.
Always.
She shows up wearing her husband's oversized suit.
Because she's pregnant and literally nothing else fits her. And babes, I have to point out the poetic justice here.
Oh, the karma.
Remember when Lottie slut-shamed Margo for her cleavage? And then later that night, Lottie's own kit fell out of her dress. Karma. Now she's forced to wear men's tailoring.
I actually have to praise the suit choice, though. It is high camp maternity wear. She is leaning into the oversized menswear aesthetic out of pure necessity, but it accidentally looks incredibly chic and editorial.
It did look kind of good.
But the most important arrival, from a narrative standpoint, is Kimi.
Kimi arrives wearing a literal massive white flower crown on her head.
Subtle as a brick.
She walks right up to Margo, the woman she was screaming at yesterday, and says, "I wore my white flowers for peace." And then she makes a self-deprecating joke about being a piece of shit.
Flawless technique.
And babes, I couldn't believe it. Margo laughs. She says, "Finally, we agree." It actually worked. They called a truce. Why did that work?
It worked because Kimi understands the psychology of conflict de-escalation better than anyone on this cast. Analytically, Kimi played this perfectly.
Explain it to me.
She is embodying the persona that every modern reality TV star is desperately trying to master. Matching mean girl energy with extreme self-deprecation is the ultimate social cheat code.
Explain how that works, because I would just be mad about the flower crown. It feels mocking.
It is mocking, but it works because she disarms the opponent by insulting herself first. When you are in an argument, your opponent is gathering ammunition to fire at your ego.
Right.
If you preemptively destroy your own ego by calling yourself a piece of shit, you render their ammunition useless. Margo wanted an apology and validation. Kimi gave her a joke at her own expense, which satisfied Margo's need for a win, and the tension just evaporated.
That is insane.
It is brilliant. Machiavellian social maneuvering wrapped in a floral crown.
Wow. That is actually genius. I love that they squashed it. Because at their core, they actually are so similar. Kimi is a tiger. She attacks fiercely, but she has a heart of gold underneath.
Allegedly.
But while Margo and Kimi are making peace, Mark-Francis is literally fleeing the scene.
Not walking away, running away, fleeing.
Lottie and Margo are standing there watching this happen. After Missy tries to confront him again about Margo's feelings, Mark-Francis literally walks out of the party. He just abandons the birthday. And he blames it on good British etiquette. He tells Miss A he doesn't want to cause a scene at Myka's birthday party.
I call absolute unadulterated BS on this excuse.
Same.
This is the exact manifestation of what we discussed earlier with Bourdieu's habitus. Good British etiquette is the shield he uses whenever he is emotionally cornered and lacks the tools to engage. Do you know why aristocratic etiquette was literally invented in the courts of Europe?
To know which fork to use for the salad.
No.
Well,
it was codified to create rules of exclusion. It was a way for the nobility to identify who didn't belong because they didn't know the arbitrary rules.
oh, wow.
Mark-Francis is using etiquette not as a form of politeness, but as a weapon of avoidance. He couldn't handle a basic, emotionally mature conflict resolution conversation with Miss A, so he scurried away to his chauffeur-driven car.
He scurried like a rat.
Now, we must be fair and add context.
Yeah.
He did tell Emma earlier that his father was in the hospital and he was flying to Italy that night, so there is underlying familial stress.
That is true.
But what was he actually doing as he fled? He was tending to a chair auction on his phone.
Yes. Emma literally said, "I go running, you buy chairs." He is a freak. I'm sorry. He just is. He uses antique furniture and archaic rules of etiquette to avoid dealing with human emotion. He's emotionally stunted.
He prefers chose to people. It's well documented.
But babes, while all this petty drama, fleeing, and chair buying is happening, we get the absolute emotional core of the episode. Martha.
The emotional horse girl renaissance, this was a profound shift in tone.
I got genuinely emotional watching this. I had tears in my eyes. We get the backstory on Martha. We learned that she used to be the best sign saddle rider in all of England.
Which, by the way, was described by another cast member as being the best In-N-Out burger in California.
I know.
An incredibly specific, culturally unhinged, yet highly accurate metric of regional dominance.
He was a champion. It was her entire identity.
Okay.
But she had to give it up. And babes, the story of Daphne. I was weeping into my wine glass.
It was heavy.
Martha has a horse granddaughter, Daphne, named after Paige DeSorbo's cat on Summer House.
The cross-franchise Bravo pet naming synergy is noted and appreciated.
Daphne is the literal offspring of Martha's late, beloved champion horse. But after Martha's divorce, she lost her estate, she lost her income, she had no money.
Tragic.
She couldn't afford the exorbitant boarding fees to keep Daphne, so she had to put her in a horse orphanage, a charity sanctuary in the countryside. And the saddest part,
She hasn't visited.
she hasn't even visited her. She says she's too paralyzed by shame and the constant reminder of her financial and marital failures.
It is genuinely tragic. Because this isn't just about a pet. She lost her lifestyle, her marriage, her social standing, and her horse granddaughter all in one fell swoop. The refusal to visit Daphne is a classic trauma response.
Really?
Yes, it is avoidance coping. Facing the horse means facing the reality of everything she lost.
But then the magic happens. At the polo party, surrounded by the grass and the horses, she gets on a pony, she gets back in the saddle.
A pivotal moment.
And babes, you can physically see the heavy emotional burden lift off her shoulders. Her face changes. She looks so light and happy. She said she feels like Martha again.
It was very cinematic.
And because of that moment, she decides she's going to finally go visit Daphne, even if she can only take her out for the day and buy her a toy like an absentee father on a weekend visit. It was beautiful joy.
It was a profound, televised moment of reclaiming one's identity. But her emotional breakthrough leads directly to a very fascinating, deeply philosophical clash between Martha and Kimi at the very end of the episode.
Yes, because Martha is reinvigorated by the ride. They're sitting around and Kimi says, life is all about these beautiful moments. And Martha sighs, looks off into the distance and says, I want it all to be beautiful.
Let's unpack the psychology of this worldview. Martha is the ultimate romantic.
She really is.
She is the grieving war widow holding out for a perfect utopian universe. She believes at her core that life should be entirely beautiful, fair, and aesthetically pleasing. And because of that belief, she is constantly, repeatedly devastated when it inevitably isn't.
And then Kimi drops the absolute hammer of truth. Kimi looks at her and says, but it isn't. It isn't all beautiful. But it's about appreciating the golden moments when they happen.
It is a stark foundational contrast in human philosophy. Kimi's worldview is brutal but incredibly pragmatic.
Totally pragmatic.
Kimi operates on the assumption that life is essentially a chaotic garbage fire. But occasionally, a golden moment drops into your lap, like a sunny day, a free glass of vintage champagne, or a hot trainer from Boston taking his shirt off.
Amen.
And when that happens, you have to grab that moment by the throat and write it out, because the garbage fire is returning tomorrow.
We need to debate this, because my wine-fueled brain is struggling. Which philosophy is actually better? Which one is better for surviving reality TV, and which one is better for surviving actual life?
Oh, I have thoughts.
Because I lean heavily towards Martha. I want the romance. I want to believe everything can be beautiful. Otherwise, what is the point of getting out of bed, putting on a matching linen set, and trying?
Let me challenge that with a functional analogy. Imagine building a house.
Okay, building a house.
Martha is trying to build a magnificent, multi-story mansion made entirely of fine crystal and delicate china, but she is building it directly on top of a major seismic fault line.
Oh, no.
Every time the reality TV earthquake hits, every rumor, every fight, every betrayal, her entire crystal house shatters, and she is left weeping in the shards.
Oh, my God, that is so sad.
Now look at Kimi. Kimi is perfectly happy living in a neon-colored bouncy castle.
A bouncy castle.
She knows the ground is unstable. She knows the earthquakes are coming. But when the drama hits, Kimi doesn't shatter. She just bounces. From an analytical standpoint, Kimi's philosophy is far superior for survival.
That makes so much sense.
If your baseline expectation is that life and people are difficult, you are insulated against disappointment. When something good happens, it is a bonus. Martha's approach requires constant emotional devastation because reality will never, ever meet her aesthetic standards.
Wow.
On a reality show, if you expect everyone to be beautiful and kind, you will be eaten alive in the first 3 episodes. Kimi knows everyone is awful, which is why she survives and thrives.
Oh, you are so right. The bouncy castle analogy just destroyed my entire worldview, but it makes so much sense. Think about your own friend groups or your workplace Snark squad. Are you setting yourself up for Martha-level devastation by expecting perfect behavior from flawed people?
Probably.
Or are you adopting Kimi's bounty castle armor? It hurts my heart, but Kimi is a realist. Martha is a dreamer. And speaking of surviving, thriving, and judging, babes, it is time to transition into our segments. We have so much more to unpack.
Let us initiate segment 1, faux royalty ranking.
The prompt is simple. Who's giving queen energy? And who's giving absolute fraud? Babes, I am going first. And I am loudly, proudly nominating Martha for queen energy.
A strong opening move. Defend the thesis. Why does the crying romantic get the crown?
Because she got back on the horse. Literally and figuratively. She owned her truth about her struggles. She sat on national television and admitted she was broke, that her marriage failed, and that she couldn't afford her horse granddaughter.
Vulnerability is powerful.
She didn't let the shame keep her down anymore. She put on those riding boots, she got on that pony, and she commanded that polo field. That is a queen. A true queen acknowledges her fallen kingdom, wipes her tears, and starts rebuilding the bricks.
I will accept Martha as queen, though I would argue her absolute lack of athletic prowess on a pastel yoga mat docks her a few royal points.
Fair.
But let us move to the fraud pile. I am analytically dismantling Mark-Francis.
Throw him in the pile. Burn him.
He is giving absolute fraud. He projects this meticulously curated image of being an unbothered, superior aristocrat who floats above the petty emotional drama of the commoners.
Yep.
But as we establish, it is a total fabrication covering up deep, unhealed insecurities. A true royal, a true leader of a social circle, does not need to flee a birthday party because a woman in athletic wear asked him to apologize to someone he hurt.
Exactly.
A true royal stands their ground, addresses the conflict, and commands the room. His superiority complex is just a bespoke suit tailored to hide a terrified child. Fraud.
Drag him. The bespoke suit of terror. And I am throwing Margo in the fraud pile right next to him.
Go for it.
Babes, you cannot serve brine hot dogs out of a jar floating in cloudy formaldehyde water while pretending to be a posh domestic goddess.
You really can't.
You are from the United States of America. Put the jar down by a charcoal grill and serve a proper American hot dog. You are a culinary fraud, Margo.
Moving aggressively to segment 2.
Yep.
Social climber or socialite.
We need to break it down. Looking specifically at the motives at this polo party. Is Myka throwing a polo party for her own birthday a genuine socialite move? Or is it a massive social climb to look aristocratic on camera?
Let us examine the logistics of the event. Renting a private polo field is not an inexpensive endeavor. However, it is an act of highly conspicuous consumption.
Very conspicuous.
A true generational socialite does not need to rent a polo field and hire instructors to prove they belong in that environment. They likely already own the horses in the estate.
Exactly.
Myka doing this specifically for her birthday, whilst ensuring her very muscular, very American brother is front and center in cowboy boots, screams of a produced event to elevate her perceived status on the show. She wants the aesthetic of old money, but the execution is purely new money broadcast. It is a calculated social climb.
I completely agree. It felt like she went to the How to Be British old money Pinterest board, clicked add to cart, and bought the whole package.
Precisely.
But babes, I will argue that Kimi is the truest socialite in this entire cast.
Let me challenge that. Kimi is crass, loud, and constantly fighting. How is that a socialite?
Because she truly, deeply does not care about the rules. She shows up to a fancy, stuffy polo event wearing a massive white flower crown just to mock the situation and secure a truce with an enemy.
That is true.
She will call herself a piece of shit with a smile on her face. A real socialite knows the societal rules so intimately that they can comfortably, effortlessly break them without fear of losing their status. She isn't trying to prove she's posh like Myka. She just is. She has the confidence of someone whose family name is already on the building.
The unbothered comfort in one's own toxicity is indeed a hallmark of the upper echelon. They don't need to perform wealth because they possess power. Point conceded to Kimi.
Which brings us to segment 3, most embarrassing moment.
Call it OUT. Name and shame.
Babes, I'm calling out Margo. Pouting at her own July 4th party.
Oh, it's bad.
She is forcing her handsome, mysteriously employed husband and her stepkids to eat those awful posh dogs, and she is just sitting there at the head of the table complaining about how it isn't America and how sad she is.
Very low vibration.
Babes, you chose to marry a European. You chose to move there. Stop whining, put some extra ice in your glass, and fake a smile for your children. It was so embarrassing to watch a grown woman wallow in her expat misery while ruining a holiday she insisted on hosting.
That is a solid, highly valid nomination. However, I must nominate Mark-Francis for the ultimate embarrassment.
Let's hear it.
Sir, running away from Miss Say at a polo field because you couldn't handle a basic conflict resolution conversation. He literally scurried.
He scurried.
He muttered a nonsensical excuse about etiquette and scurried to his luxury vehicle so he could look at chairs on his iPhone. It is the behavior of a petulant toddler who doesn't want to share his toys, not a refined gentleman in his 30s. It was deeply, viscerally embarrassing to witness that lack of emotional regulation.
It was so cringe. She is of no consequence to me, and then he runs away. You can't be an iconic reality TV villain if you physically run away from the conflict.
Yeah.
You have to stay and fight.
Finally, segment 4. Who would survive real royal life?
Be messy, babes. Who could actually handle the absolute pressure cooker of Buckingham Palace? The tabloids, the rules, the coldness.
Analytically, looking at their coping mechanisms, the answer is Kimi, without a doubt.
Really?
She has the exact required energy. Brutal, stiff upper lip, willing to cut a bitch with a smile while wearing a fascinator. The modern monarchy requires ruthless PR manipulation, an understanding of optics, and the ability to ruthlessly dispatch your enemies while waving pleasantly from a balcony.
Oh my God, you're right.
Kimi would thrive in that bouncy castle. She would have the palace staff terrified and the British tabloids eating out of the palm of her hand.
Kimi as queen consort would be terrifying and iconic. She would be leaking stories to the Daily Mail every Tuesday. But babes, hear me out. Martha.
Let me push back immediately. Martha would perish within a fortnight.
She would. I know she would. She would completely crumble under the pressure of the protocols. The lack of romanticism would destroy her fragile soul. She would hate the cold, drafty castles. But she would look amazing in mourning clothes.
I will grant you that specific aesthetic victory. Her execution of a state funeral would be flawless.
She would be wearing a floor-length black lace veil, weeping beautifully next to a corgi in the rain. The photos would be legendary. But we have to agree on Margo.
Margo would be exiled within a week.
Exiled to the Tower of London. Because she would complain to the king about the lack of ice in her water glass. They would banish her immediately. Off with her head, she asked for a cubed ice machine.
She would attempt to serve the royal family jarred hot dogs at Balmoral and be tried for treason against the crown. It is a guaranteed spectacular failure.
Babes, what an absolute journey of a show. We are fully marinated in the faux regal delusion of this cast. I am still aggressively manifesting our Tulum dreams.
I am packing the linen as we speak.
And I am holding on to the structural happiness of that perfectly engineered Alice Pasteur taco.
The mind is a chaotic place today, caught between Aztec ruins and British estates. But we have successfully navigated the psychology of the British social hierarchy.
So we have to ask the Snark squad. Babes, we need you in the comments right now. Would you survive in this British social circle?
We need to know.
Do you have the bouncy castle mentality, or are you building a crystal house? Because I think I would last exactly 2 days before I screamed at Mark-Francis and got kicked out of Richmond forever.
And we need your qualitative data on the scammer phenomenon. Are the international syndicates getting more creative with their narratives, or are we just collectively getting more delusional, lonely, and bored?
Tell us your scammer stories. Did you talk to a fake prince for a month? And babes, where are you traveling next? Tell us your all-inclusive dreams so we can steal your itineraries and judge your resort wear.
Remind the squad of their digital duties. Rate, review, subscribe.
Please, babes, leave 5 stars. Send your messy submissions. Send this to your fanciest friend. Send it to the friend who demands ice in Europe and refuses to apologize for it. A massive wine-fueled thank you to the Snark squad. You guys are the absolute best community on the internet.
Stay shady.
Stay iconic, and we'll see you on the Snark side.